I think we're getting there now.
Yeah, it said live.
Yeah.
All right. There it is. All right. Sorry, just have to get the chat opened up there. All right. Good evening, everyone. It's Tuesday night. Time for Toke session and a bullshit. We've got very, very special guests tonight. We've got at QGrows on the show. He's one of the creators of the Cannabis app. As I'll gladly tell anybody that'll listen, it's the world's greatest social media platform, in my opinion. And I definitely try and persuade anyone and everyone that I am correct in that. So, Q, how you doing tonight?
Hey man, I'm doing great, and thanks so much for the kind words. I really do appreciate that a lot.
We appreciate you coming on. I can honestly say, with the exception of Rick, every person on this panel I have met because of Cannabis. And these formed some really great relationships where all of us are constantly in contact. And there's a whole bunch of other people that aren't that people aren't looking at right now that I'm constantly talking to. And it's because of you, man. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I would really appreciate that.
That's really cool. I appreciate that, man. That's like it's those sorts of things that make it worth it, amongst other things. And so that's really part of what it's all about, just bringing people together is really what I spend a lot of time on, thinking about, and trying to think of how we could do it better or whatever it is. So that's really awesome to hear.
Yeah, well, you and JR, you've really done a truly amazing thing, and thank you very much. So, before we get into, I'd like to get into Cannabis because there's a few people on here I'm sure that aren't really too sure about it, more Instagrammers or whatever. But before we get into that, is there anything you'd like to let people know about you that haven't heard of you before?
Good question. Sure. So my name is QGrows. I have been a cannabis grower since I was just asked this question right before we started. So it's been about just over 3 years. So I started growing like right when it became legal recreationally in California. So that was in 2018, January 1st. I think I put my clone in dirt like a week before or something like that. And my first plant was Granddaddy Purple. And what led me to that point was kind of rediscovering cannabis through CBD, probably like 5 months prior to that. My wife had bought some CBD. We live in Northern California. She ordered some CBD delivered from a place in Berkeley, and I smoked it, and I just was like passed out on the couch, like happiest I could be for like the longest fucking time, And that showed me that weed wasn't just the stuff that like I smoked once a year at a party, and every single time I did, I got like baked off my gourd and like had to bail out because I was like too freaked out. You know what I mean? Those are the experiences that I had had. So anyways, I started growing, and then, I launched Cannabis now just about 2 years ago because I was really frustrated with Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, obviously, taking down cannabis content. I'm a big, just like I'm a grower and I'm a consumer of cannabis, I wanted to find stuff on the internet that was talking about this, right? I've listened to a shit ton of podcasts. I watch YouTube and all this kind of stuff. So I wanted to find those things. And when I found those things, it wasn't too long after that they started getting taken down. And that got me pretty frustrated. So, longer story shorter, I decided that I thought I could do something better than what was out there. And because my background professionally is in community management, what that basically means is for my whole career, 13 years now, I've been working with companies to build groups of people around their brand or whatever they make or whatever it is that they do. And so I basically wanted to do that for myself, instead of doing it for other people, which is
Yep.
still what I do now to pay the bills. Now it was like, let's do this for a thing that I'm really passionate about, and let's see what it can become. And so that's kind of what started, and now we're here.
It's become awesome. It's just
Yeah.
the coolest thing was was it a month or two ago now where you had that big wave of Instagrammers and TikTokers come.
Yeah.
And it was just like it was really cool to see. It was just like watch the numbers on the Cannabis followers just like tick
It
tick tick
was insane.
tick tick going up. It's like wow, man. That was yeah, that was really great to see.
What's the
Yeah.
member-
Say what the sorry.
Sorry, what's the membership now?
Yeah, so we are, I haven't checked, can't remember what the number was earlier today or whatever, but we just recently passed 110,000 people. So the kind of the backstory, thanks. Yeah, kind of the backstory on, or what Cariboo was just saying in terms of like that kind of wild week or two in December. So we did a Cannabis live with Rasta Jeff. And I remember that morning I looked at our numbers and we were at like roughly 38,000 users, which is really exciting for us. We started 2020 with about 15,000. So ending it roughly at like, I was thinking like 40,000 people or whatever, if we got lucky. I was going to be really stoked on that. And then what happened is on December 22nd, Instagram changed their terms of service and they added a thing. They added some like stuff that people found pretty creepy. And it was just kind of like what pushed people over the edge. And so what essentially happened is like people started spreading the word about cannabis. And then at some point, and I don't know exactly what happened, but people started telling Instagram influencers about it, as well as people on TikTok were starting to talk about it. And then a couple TikTok influencers talked about it. And so both of these things happened at the same exact time. And so it was crazy. So within a week and a half, 2 weeks period, we gained 60,000 members. So we hit, 100,000 around the very beginning of January. So it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's cool. That's super cool.
It was a learning experience for sure. And it's been really cool to see how diverse the community is. I know we grew a lot. We grew from mostly growers. That was kind of predominantly what the community was made up of. And now we're a lot more diverse, and there's some challenges with that. But I think it's what's been really exciting for me is also to hear all these stories about how cannabis is helping them. And part of that is allowing them a place to talk about whatever it is, or post pictures or post videos or whatever. And so we have like a mental health group. We had one about recovery that had like some amazing stories around the beginning of the year that people were posting about using cannabis to recover from addiction of other substances. So it's been really amazing to see like the power of cannabis. It's like way more than just like posting pictures of your flower or whatever. It's like it can be so much.
Well, brother, I know I've tagged you myself a couple times, just thanking you and JR for my mental health, dog. Because if it wasn't for this group, my mental health would have been fucked through this pandemic. And I'm just gonna tell you flat out, this fucking shit saved me, bro, in so many fucking ways. And I've typed it to you and I've said it, that way, but now I can actually say it to you. So
Yeah.
I just want to thank you for that, bro. Once again, I mean, dude, you've touched a lot of people in that way, and I know goddamn good and well I'm not the only one. So thank you, bro, from the bottom of my fucking heart for doing this, man, because it's mental health, bro, for real, and that aspect of it's done so much for me. So
That's really
and
cool to hear.
I've gained so many fucking great friends, man. Really great friends. Such a
And
good network that I never had before.
I'd like to give a shout out to the people that actually host this thing for you guys, Man, getting all those people come in a 30-day time and not having everything crash, I know that had to take a bunch of work for them people.
Well, it's like I'm lucky that we're utilized by, or we use a service that's ran by a friend of mine, his company, and so and they're a small startup in Boston, and so for them, I think it's like a cool learning opportunity for them as well, and it also is like a cool opportunity for them to show their potential investors or whatever it is, like, hey, this thing works. We enabled this person to create a cannabis social network, and it can actually go somewhere. So anyways, yeah, they were able to handle that, and Squishy Bob, I do appreciate all those words a lot. I really do. That, like, I don't know what all those things were that made Cannabis the place for you, but I can say one of the things that I believe in is keeping Cannabis a welcoming place and an overall a positive place. I'm not saying like you can't, like, say, like, for example, I was really pissed off last fall when I had this foliar spray that didn't work with keeping caterpillars off my stuff, and so I posted a thing that was like, this stuff sucks, and I'm not saying you can't do that. I'm just saying, like, when I go on Instagram, I have like anxiety because, like, I'm just waiting for someone to try to shit talk me, you know what I mean? And that's just like the culture that it is, on a lot of social media, is just like you always have to have your guard up. And I'd rather post a picture of my bud that is like, a little bit nutrient burned, and not have someone come in and be like, yo man, you fucked up. And it's like, no shit, I fucked up, dude. It doesn't look as good as the other cool pictures on Cannabis. Like, I know that because I
And
can
that's
see, you know what I
greatest
mean?
thing about Cannabis is the people, bro, are not like that. Like you're saying, they're not. They're so much more positive. You know what I'm saying? And if they did want to criticize you, like, somebody's gonna actually, you know, direct message me and say something like that, like, hey, bro, maybe you should do this, or like, no, my guacamole. He said to me, rather than just because my fucking cord was low, you know what I'm saying? And rather than, rather than saying it online, no, hey, look, that's low, it might get wet. You know what I mean? Which really ain't a big deal, but he still direct messaged me instead. You know what I mean? Which is just so fucking cool and respectful and just
Yeah, heads up. Yeah.
mind-blowing to me, man. But that's how
Yeah.
everybody seems to be on fucking Cannabis, bro.
By the way, I got that same sort of DM from, or text message from Soup the Gardener like a year ago. So shout outs to homies looking out for you, being like, dude, get your power strip off the fucking ground.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, good
But
looking
that's what I
out.
love about it, dude. That's seriously what everybody is very welcoming, and from day one, people were like that, and it just hooked me to it, man, for real. And like you said, you go everywhere else you go, even post shit on fucking YouTube, and people want to just troll. You know what I mean? Just be assholes, just to be assholes. They probably don't even know what first fucking thing about growing weed anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah,
But
that's what I feel like I want to cultivate that sort of a place where people are going to just like have a good time and learn from one another. And so I've been really thankful to hear that people are having that sort of experience on Cannabis.
QGrow, actually, you know what? I have met you before. I met you briefly on New Year's Eve,
Oh yeah, on
but
our stream.
the mushrooms got the best of me, so I had to go early. But I did have a question. In your intro, you said that amongst other things, you wanted no nudity, and I was just, I wanted you to elaborate on that for us.
Yeah, well, I mean, part of it is like there are certain things that you can't allow on in an app that's on the App Store, Google Play Store, or for that matter, if you take a step back from that, there's only so many things that you can do on services like Amazon Web Services. If you want to look at like the extreme end of that, you can see what happened with Parler back in January, where they were essentially not adhering to the App Store's guidelines. So the App Store and Google Play Store took them down, and then ultimately Amazon Web Services took them down because they weren't adhering to their guidelines. I don't necessarily think that like to that extent would happen to us, but I do know, like, we were taken down very early on. We were taken from the Google Play Store down for something. We've had our app rejected from the App Store a couple times. So there are things that, you know, they pay attention basically especially when we update the app. So this is all to say that, like, we can't allow various things like full nudity. Like, you know, you can't have an Apple app that has nudity in it. You just can't. So there's just stuff like that, like, you know, selling illicit market items. We can't allow that. And then there's some other couple things that we don't allow. That's just kind of a decision that JR and I made early on. One of them is guns. We're not allowing like gun and like violent content. We really would people kind of keep that elsewhere, just because, again, we want to kind of keep a more positive place. Not saying that those things are always negative or whatever. It's just more that it's the community that we're trying to cultivate. But yeah, at the end of the day, you know, besides those caveats that I gave at the beginning in terms of there are rules that we have to work within by being on the Apple App Store, Google Play Store, and so on. There's also just some things that we want to decide are allowed and not allowed in the community, just as part of our community guidelines. But I don't know, beyond that, in terms of nudity, like, as long as people are covering up their private parts, I'm okay with it. Because the way that I look at it is, I don't want to get into kind of weird arbitrary stuff where if you're a dude, it's okay to have your shorts and like your shirt off and whatever. And women, it's okay if you wear like skimpy clothing down there, but it's not okay if dudes have skimpy clothing down there. There's just like weird shit like that I don't feel, I think those are like overly arbitrary decisions. Like, at the end of the day, you have to make arbitrary decisions as someone that's running a community, but those are the sorts of arbitrary decisions that I think are like especially stupid. So for me, it's like, as long as you're like not showing, unfortunately there's a double standard with female nipples. You can't show female nipples, but you can men. And as long as you're not showing, you know, your parts down there, then we're cool. And I know I think angers some people on the grow side. I think they kind of get upset that sometimes people show little skin with their content. And we've decided not to go that far to try to sort of restrict those things, because there's room for kind of all kinds of people in the cannabis space and the cannabis community. And we don't want to, you know, cut people out just because they're really hot or whatever, you know?
I think every place has got to have some kind of rules. You know, if you don't have rules, then people are just going to abuse it.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the creating the community vibe that we have. Like, to cultivate that, you have to make some sort of decisions along the way that kind of cut out certain activity or whatever it is. And that sucks and it's painful, but at times, you know, because some people will decide like this isn't the place for me, or some people will decide like that's a line that I'm definitely going to cross and I'm going to do it a bunch of times so that, you know, I'm not going to be here anymore or whatever. But yeah, it just kind of comes with the territory, because I feel like overall, you know, what I'm trying to think about is the overall health of cannabis. And that doesn't mean necessarily like for one individual per se. It's like the overall community, and how can we make sure that we keep this whole thing going and a great place to hang out.
Great place it is.
And with everything, there's going to be good and bad. You know what I'm saying? There's always going to be, you know, disagreements with things. You know what I'm saying? And people that have different opinions with things. So, you know, that's just probably comes with the territory. I'm sure, bro. You know.
Yeah, it does. Just humans, and that was what's kind of interesting. There's the drama that's cultivated on cannabis, and there is like that drama sometimes, but then there's drama that comes over from other social networks. So we had people that had like big beefs on Instagram that were coming over to cannabis and bringing it over here, and it was like all kinds of shit. That was kind of something that I guess in retrospect like totally makes sense. It's like, no shit, that totally makes sense, but at the time that wasn't something that I was really anticipating. So just kind of dealing with all these people that like all this drama, and it was like, man, it was way more chill before, and now we have all this stuff. And luckily I think that kind of wave has passed, but for a little bit that was going on.
Yeah, it did. It was like, man, I swear, there was just like a lot of stuff in the news feed. Then all of a sudden, man, I didn't see as many of the old guys anymore, the other people.
Yeah, it was crazy.
A lot more scrolling, but it's cool. I mean, it's cool.
It was crazy. Yeah, we like in the day, those couple days when we were getting the most people, we had like 25,000 posts and comments, and that's crazy. That's like way more than what we typically get. So
Right.
yeah, I remember that was crazy, like trying to just scroll through new and keep up with it.
I know, I was shocked. I was like, holy fuck, what the hell happened? What the fuck's going on, man?
Yeah, that's basically what happened for me. I woke up and I looked at my phone and I was like, what the, because I would like check, I think I just checked the dashboard that I have, like shows me the numbers, and we had like gained a couple thousand people or something like that. I forget what it was, but it was like we had gained a lot, and or I think it was 800 and like that morning, where typically in a typical day at that time it was like 200 was like really cool. So anyways, yeah, it was crazy.
And then I seen your post though. You made a video and you're like, hey guys, just so you know, man, this is going on. So you know what I mean? I'm like, okay, well, this makes sense then. You basically were explaining what the fuck, that there was a huge influx of people, and
yeah, it was cool. Yeah, it gave me, one of the things that I'm like been thinking a lot about, and it's cool to connect with you guys about, is just thinking about what's the future of like not just cannabis, but like the overall cannabis community and the cannabis industry. Because I am so stoked for what it looks like it's coming down with the US, strongly moving in the direction of potentially legalizing, maybe even late this year or something, who knows, because the Senate's on board, at least the majority leader of the Senate, I should say. And the president would likely pass it, I think. So anyways, with that, and then at the same time, you have people will have more vaccines and all this kind of stuff, so people will be able to get out. Like, I'm wondering if I'll be able to go to like a cannabis show this fall, so I'm just so excited about what is the world gonna like be and look like, because you're gonna have like cannabis legalization and people, at least in the United States, being able to get out a little bit more. So yeah, that's what I've been smoking and thinking about, I guess.
That'd be awesome if we could have all our brothers and sisters south of the border being able to freely throw an ounce of weed in an envelope and ship it across the country to all they please, because you can.
You guys are crazy with that. That's awesome. I don't know if we'll ever be able to get that to happen, because that just feels like, once you hear that from your Canadian friends, you're like, really? That's like so not fair.
Yeah, it literally is just that easy. Like, you even go to if you go to the post office to mail it off, because I've shipped weed across the country since before it was legal, allegedly, right? I just, little bits here and there to friends, and you go through great lengths to make sure there's no smell coming out of there. Nowadays, you go to the post office and they'll say, should that go in a scentless envelope? Yeah, you should. And they'll hand you a scentless envelope that seals up so you don't get weed smell coming out of it. It's literally that convenient. So it's cool. I would absolutely love for you guys to have that freedom, because after all, it's a plant.
That would be pretty cool. That'd be pretty. That I don't know. What do you guys think? That seems like too crazy for us in the United States, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I'm thinking that's a ways down the road, like
Yeah.
a long ways down the road.
I hope it's
But-
not, though.
I
I'd
know
like to
that would be
see-
awesome.
Man, yeah, because I would love to be able to just go to Chicago and get a whole shitload of clones without worrying about shit, anything, or being able to go over state lines without worrying. That's the thing here. So
I'd like to say as a Canadian that that's really all that our federal law is good for. When I listen to my friends talk about what they're doing in states right now, without it, I mean, I can see it being more convenient if it was federal, but you're far more advanced in the manufacturing distribution of the flour than they are in Canada. In Canada, it's absolutely ridiculous. It's all packaged by these multi-million-dollar corporations that really they're packaged in 3.5 gram to 5 gram packages that it's child-proof and smell-proof and all that. And this is how it is marketed in Canada. And I hear of you or in many states where you can take it out of a jar and retail it that way. I mean, that would make sense to me.
Yeah,
And
those are like
in some states you are doing that.
yeah.
Now,
Some of the more progressive, or I guess no, I would say the states that have a bit more of like an independent streak where they don't want to like too much regulation, that's where you can just like pick nugs out of jars and stuff. Like you go to Oregon, I think Oklahoma and other places, they're serving by the nug basically, but in other places it has to be packaged. Like in Washington you can't smell it. In California, it's sealed in a package. It doesn't seem like they're even letting you smell stuff much that anymore in California. I don't think that's by law, but anyways. So yeah.
yeah, Michigan's like that too. You can't everything's packaged. You can't even smell shit right now. So, and you got to order everything online and then just go pick it up if you're getting anything from a dispensary.
I just think it's crazy. People are still in prison for something that's legal in a state, but they're in prison for it still, just because they went to prison before it was legal. Or if it was legal at the time, like maybe they wouldn't have had as much or anything, like there's so many just different things. Like I'm glad it's moving in the right direction, but with this federal legalization, like I honestly wouldn't mind it taking just a little bit longer if they do it for the right reasons, because it can be like really detrimental for a lot of people that have spent their life savings in businesses and cultivation centers and dispensaries and all this stuff, because the federal regulation come through and make all that obsolete. You know what I mean? Just wham. Yeah. Now like millions of dollars out the window, so they have the ability to do that through lobbying, through all that stuff, so, I'd really want to see it done for the right reasons. Because I mean, in my state, even medical, you know what I mean, it's $60 an eighth. Like, come on, who can really afford that shit? You know, like
medical.
So it's like, I want to see it done for the right reasons, no doubt. And I love the platform that you help create. Like because that's just it's true like freedom almost, and because you can go on there and really talk about whatever, and it's. Before the huge influx, it was kind of self-guided. You know what I mean? People kind of knew what to do and what not to do type deal. And if not, you kind of got your coattail pulled in the DMs or whatever, you know what I mean? And so, that was really cool. And even with the influx, it's awesome watching it grow, you know what I mean? And watch it still be that community where people can come on, and there's so many different outlets now. Like you're talking about the mental health, like that's huge because that's such a huge stigma with the, cannabis industry as it is, so those are just stigma breakers right there, you know what I mean? And like I found it right out of prison, I mean? I was in a state mandated halfway house. I had just gotten a phone after being in prison 4 years, you know what I mean? And was searching on the fucking weed apps and shit and saw cannabis. I was like, oh, what's this? Jumped on there and like I was like, oh my God, like people like Don Miller, you know what I mean?
And you're one of the
JR.
first people I started talking to, bro.
Yeah, it's fucking Squishy Bob over there, man. He was just talking about what he's doing now, like as a dream, you know, like, hey, this is what I wanted to do, and full blown now, you know what I mean? It's crazy. So, you know, I just really want to commend you for what you did for the community, man, and the cannabis community as a whole, you know,
Cool.
because I mean, I get to meet all these really cool, you know, brothers, and it's a real great community. So I'm stoned and rambling. My bad. So I'm good.
I'll
No,
bet
I
you're
feel
right.
you. Yeah, I
100%.
appreciate that. Yeah, no, and I agree with you on those fronts too, in terms of your points around how they handle legalization. I think on the Senate side, I should say, the House, I believe, passed the MORE Act, and the MORE Act does have things that have more like restorative justice elements to it. But there were some people that were trying to. There was a Republican from Florida that was trying to get that. I can't remember if it was Marco Rubio or someone was trying to get that removed. So there's like some people. There's a fights right now, I think, over some of those elements. And then I think the other thing after, like whatever happens at the federal level too, that we're gonna have to figure out is like if states even allow import from other states, because there's going to be states that are going to fight to keep their system self-contained, and so that's going to be kind of a shit show, because you know, there's so much, especially like you were saying with lobbying, right? There's a lot of companies that have a ton of money invested in their infrastructure in keeping the system the way it is today, which is like every state having to be, you know, self-contained. You know what I mean? So I think that's going to be weird too.
Yeah, that's one thing about Oklahoma. I mean, if they don't grow it in Oklahoma, you ain't gonna smoke it in Oklahoma. So a lot of these strains that people are like, oh yeah, man, I had this and that was really good. I've never even seen, you know, because nobody around here grows it. It has to be grown in Oklahoma to be sold in Oklahoma.
Totally, yeah. I'm really wondering how they'll do that, because I think there's, you know, I get why especially big companies would want them to be self-contained, but I think I'm really excited about the opportunity of like when the South can start growing cannabis, and maybe they have they can run like longer running season strains or something like that based on their, like, it'd just be really cool to see what can happen if we can really take advantage of the entire country's like environments and advantages that they have based on where they are regionally or whatever it is. So that'd be really cool.
I don't know, man. I see some pretty good grows going on up in Canada and Alaska.
Or Massachusetts.
I see the system failing in Canada. The quality is terrible and the prices are ridiculous. And I see them failing. And I think that what I'm hoping is that they will look at smaller craft growers, and that's the way I'm counting on it going in Canada anyway.
I sure hope so, and because everybody that's ever watched this show, you know damn well what I think of the dispensaries around here. It's just utter garbage. You're charging extortionate prices for garbage. Like I just don't understand why anybody in Canada, because it's about the easiest process you can imagine to get a medical grow license. So if you're living in a place where you have the ability to grow, $500 a year, it's all it costs you. Grow whatever your limit is, right? I've heard of some pretty insane limits. I've heard of some pretty reasonable limits. Basically, it's a license to do whatever you want, and you'll grow whatever better than what you're going to get at the dispensaries. Almost guarantee it.
Well, yeah, when I was talking about that, I was not talking about weed at the dispensary. I'm talking about stuff that I'm seeing people growing on cannabis that are coming out of there, like Hurtin Albertan. You know, he's definitely growing some really wicked stuff, dude.
He's killing it.
Yeah, that's what's really cool about like the underground scene, and especially over the last few years is, you know, as this technology, you know, as LED lights and tents and, the AC Infinity fans and all these sorts of things that are coming out these days that make it so much easier to grow at home. It's just amazing what people are able to pull off. And yeah, hats off, because like it just allows everyone, you just see like everyone's like nerdy interests. There's like the people that go off into electronics and like LED land, and then there's like, obviously,
vibrating trellis guy.
yeah, he hit me up recently. I got to talk to him. Yeah. What do you think about that? You like, he puts a speaker in a metal trellis and it vibrates or something like that. It's
like a hog panel that he uses, and then he's like, then you can turn it up and use it for a drying rack. You know what I mean? He's really selling it, but I don't know if I would spend the money on it. But I mean, it's cool. To each his own. You know what I mean?
Cool that people are coming up with like.
I'd want to see studies that say it works, man, before I'd pay for it.
Yeah, me too. But it is a cool idea. It's a cool thought. I mean, I have heard things about, plants liking vibration and shit. So
no, there's a lot of science to that, actually, with music and everything else. You play certain types of music, it makes the plant actually grow better. They have this stuff called Sonic Bloom they sold, where you'd actually have to play music with it. Apparently, I was kind of reading up on it, but there's actually a lot of science back behind that, so I could see that working, Things are moving like Groot. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is I want to see somebody that actually had that product that says, oh yeah, dude, man, it made my stuff grow twice as big, okay, then it's worth paying the money for. Right. I'm one of these people that, man, you got to show me what I'm paying for. I'm a poor guy. You got to show me where my money's going. It ain't going for nothing.
I just don't want to. I don't want a trellis with an Alexa in it.
That's exactly.
But let's see. There were some questions.
But I tell you what though, man, I learned so much just from being on Cannabis and being able to connect with people and ask a shitload of questions, because if I wouldn't have been able to do that, I don't know, man, I would not even be close to where I'm at now. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I asked tons of questions to the right people and kept asking questions. And luckily they were cool enough to answer all my questions. Yeah. And then coach me when I was wrong, you know what I mean? And critique me and shit. So that's just, man, so fortunate on that. So many levels, bro, with Cannabis, dog. It's for real.
That's awesome. And by the way, I like, I shout out to anyone who's trying to be an entrepreneur right now and trying to come up with some sort of product or whatever. I've seen the Herbs Now dryer guy, coming back with his new devices, and there's a lot of people experimenting right now. So shout outs to people that are hustling and trying to come up with something new. I saw that I just loaded up the YouTube, and so I could check out chat and I could answer some questions from chat. Let's see. Someone asked me, or it was Beelzebub, asked me a really easy question for me to answer, which was my favorite band. My favorite band is Blink-182. I was a kid when they really started blowing up, and I've stuck with them since then. And so I'm a huge fan. There's a poster back there, and there's pictures over there, and there's all kinds of shit. So anyways, that's an easy question. The next, let's see. What's Q's favorite smoke? Does he like flower or dabs? I'm kind of I'm pretty budget. So I mostly just smoke flower, I guess. But I need to kind of invest in kind of building out my space to have enough space for a bunch of weed gadgets. It's something that I don't have, that I really admire that other people have. I just need to clean up my house is kind of what I'm also saying, but I need to just get some shelves, get some stuff set up so that I could have a bong and all this sorts of stuff. Because otherwise what I have is, and I posted some pictures, but I have this rolling tray that's made by Matriarch. I bought it at a High Times Cup in San Francisco a couple of years ago. They're really nice people. Anyways, it's just a wooden rolling tray, and so I just roll joints. And the downside to that is you go through a shit ton of flour. So yeah, I would be down to getting into some dabs. I just posted recently on Cannabis about getting like a portable wax vaporizer, because I feel like that's kind of more my speed rather than like a whole dab rig, because I just don't have the space for it right now. And then I think in terms of strains, like one of my favorite strains, I loved Granddaddy Purple when I first started growing and smoking. When, let's see, I then grew Grandpa's Breath, which was kind of cool. That has Granddaddy Purple in it. And then Brandywine, which also has some Granddaddy Purple in it. Those last two are Dungeon Vault genetics, and he has some good stuff. So I really liked Brandywine. That was a strain that I really loved, that I grew, that I'm thinking about. I still have some seeds that I might pop those actually. And then I grew Doctor Who like 2 summers ago, and I really liked that a lot. So I've been thinking about bringing that back. So yeah, and then Forbidden Fruit. I've always been kind of chasing the effects of Forbidden Fruit. It's a really like uplifting high, which is a lot of what I'm looking for from cannabis, is kind of a more uplift and like kind of relaxation. So I really like that mix that Forbidden Fruit has. And so I've been kind of trying to find stuff that's in that range, but like a little bit tastier. So yeah, that's kind of it. I don't know. Let's see. I didn't know if you wanted me to go to like rapid fire through these.
Oh, hey, Sam, I got some
yeah.
Granddaddy Perp. I got some Granddaddy Perp, a whole bunch of Granddaddy Perp. Shout out to Sam.
Nice.
For he was on our show back a little while ago, but he got me some sent me some Granddaddy Perp and some pink lemonade as well.
Is that Beelzebub? I think Sam.
Yep.
Yeah, nice. That's awesome.
Yep. Thanks, Sam.
That's sick.
That one though, that one is a female too, Sam. Just so you know, I sexed that one, and she's female. She's awesome.
Hell yeah.
But I'm still gonna plant a bunch of them, especially the pink lemonade.
The dogs went out.
Go ahead, Q.
It's okay. The dogs need it. They want dinner.
Can't hold Macla from their food like that. I got a 150-pound Doberman at home that if you get between him and his bowl when he's gets moving, he'll take your legs right out from under you sometimes. It's just look out.
Totally.
My dad just got a Saint Newfie. It's Saint Bernard in a Newfoundland, and it's huge, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a big ass dog.
It's a pup. It's a pup, and it's already like 90 pounds. So it's gonna be huge.
Damn. Let's see. I wanted to see if there were any other questions. Oh, what is Q planning to grow for his outdoor season, and what time do I start? That's a really good question. I was actually just having this conversation with my wife last night because I was trying to dupe her into helping me build a greenhouse. So I was trying to discuss like how big this greenhouse needs to be, and that's kind of going to be dictated how early I put my plants out. Because last year I basically tried to get as big as I could, and I learned what that can do. And one of the things that does is there's just a lot more opportunity for things to go wrong. There's a lot more to like keep track of. It's really hard to kind of manage. My plants grew like 13, 14 feet tall. The strawberry fields did. So those I had to like stand on at the top of a 6-foot ladder and like kind of go around. And I also kind of felt like a dork because I'm like looking over into my neighbors' backyards. Like at one point, so fucking stupid in retrospect, but they were like having a party in their backyard, like a little baby pool party and stuff like that. And I'm up like spraying my plants so that they don't get something or whatever. And I just like, I probably shouldn't have done that. I don't know. But just like, stupid stuff like that when you're like having plants that are like 12, 14 feet tall. And, you know, and I don't live like right in San Francisco or anything like that, you know, but people have their backyards up to each other's backyards, you know. So anyways, I got to kind of figure that out. So that's all to say. I'm not going to be so gung-ho this year as trying to get as big as possible. And so I think I might
You took
just
your roof out and everything, didn't you, on your greenhouse?
Yeah, I had to rip the roof off and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, because it was already outgrowing my greenhouse, like 7, 8 feet by they had started flowering. They hadn't even started flowering at that point. So yeah, I think this year I'll start my seeds insecting them probably sometime soonish in the next month or so. But really, I don't know. I'm not in too much of a hurry because it seems like you can get plants out there in June and have pretty decent sized plants by October. Um, so yeah, that's kind of my thoughts in terms of strains. I'm not sure yet. Maybe Doctor Who and Brandywine, but I don't know. I got to think about that because we were just talking before the show. I had some issues last year with bud rot and caterpillars, so I want to find some strains that maybe are a little bit more resistant to, or maybe grow better in outdoors. Maybe that's a better way to put it. So yeah, I gotta do some research.
Hypothetical gardener was asking in chat if you grow autos or if you have any interest in growing autos.
I do. I have grown autos before. I really like autos a lot. I grew James Loud. He's a breeder. He had something from Mephisto. I think it was like their Three Bears OG that he hit with something of his. And I grew that a couple years ago. And that was really cool because that was like one of those just really strong auto flowers that like doesn't seem like an auto flower. Like when it fully flowers, you're like, holy shit, this thing looks great and it's huge. And you know, it did all that in like 90 days or whatever it is. So anyways, I've definitely seen the light. I grew it in my 3x3 by 6-foot tent or whatever. So I think I was growing it, I can't remember if it was in a 5-gallon or a 3-gallon pot. And it probably grew like, you know, 5 feet or something like that. I don't know, 4 feet or something.
What media did you use? Did you use cocoa or soil or?
It was soil.
Okay. What kind of light?
That was, I think it was my Closet Case 140 Spectrum King.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, I did supplement light with that once, and I did like the way that came off, but I don't know. I'm kind of tempted by Keith over with Black Sail Market with his light. I'm tempted to kind of ditch my Spectrum King and get Keith's light just to like, because what I have done in my tent, my 3x3 tent, is I've noticed that the Closet Case 140, it says it handles 3x3 tents well, and it does. Like you can pull off a decent harvest. But I've supplemented it once or twice with a Rapid LED Grow Mouse. He teamed up with Rapid LED a couple times, and they had this puck light that's like 100 watts. And so I had my Closet Case and the 100 watt, and I noticed that the bud that grew under like the Grow Mouse puck looks like especially fucking dank. So, anyways, I've seen the literal light of like I can blow up my 3x3 a little bit more. And I think Keith's Black Sail Market LED is kind of calling my name because it just seems like he's banging it out. And
yeah, our boy DP just got one of those too.
Yeah, I got one. I'll tell you what, the penetration on that is 10 times better than the LED light I had before.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man. Because I'm doing this Sea of Green right now.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like looking a little shitty down, like three inches down, you know, because I saw, you know, JR gives me a hard time every time I post pictures of my plants. He always has to, you have to shave up the bottoms or whatever the fuck. And so I keep that shit locked tight, or at least I try to by the time I'm like clearing the flower. And anyways, I was just looking at it yesterday and there's like some brown leaves down there because the light's not getting through because it's so thick, kind of like with 710s set up right there with his background. Yeah. So anyways, that's cool. Yeah, what I think has been cool about Keith when he sponsors, it's been neat to see now people comment in the comments and say like, hey, this light's like legit. It actually works and it's freaking awesome. And that's been really cool too.
I want to get
that everyone.
If I could get two for under, if it was a little bit cheaper, man, I'd do it. But I just can't. I can't do the. And I need two if I was to do it. You know what I mean? I gotta have two of them
Yeah.
for my tent.
3L mixed up asked, do I grow organic or salts? I've grown organic the last like couple years or so, year and a half. But when I started growing, I grew salts. So like my very first grow was pretty much advanced nutrients and some other stuff that I picked up along the way. And then the second grow I did with New Millennium, because I got like a full pack of New Millennium nutrients. And I really liked that a lot. And then, but I just got really tired of when you're growing in just at least in a 3x3 tent, I just got really tired of like measuring out 5 milliliters of this and 5 milliliters of that. And so I liked kind of doing more of an organic style. So I'm still, dialing that in. I've done it really good sometimes and kind of messed it up some other times, but I really like what Build a Soil has done. And so I feel like I just need to follow their recipe and, get there, because they've got these Build a Soil kits where you can get like your nutrients and you combine that with your soil and it comes out really great. And I use their Build a Bloom in flour, and that's just a dry amendment, and that has like pretty much everything you'd need, seems like. And you obviously can add some other stuff on top, but anyways, I'm kind of a believer of the Build a Soil. It just seems like Build a Soil kicks ass, though I do know that they are kind of expensive, so you kind of gotta weigh that out.
Yeah, 311 has been kind of coaching some of us, and Fluffy, one of the other guys on the panel, has been, they're really big on organics. So, yeah, shout out to Fluff. Hope you're getting better, buddy. Hope you're feeling better. He just had surgery today. So,
Oh, wow.
they're hardcore organic. I would love, that's my turn off is the damn mixing the newts constantly. You know what I'm saying? And I really would love to get away from that. And, even 311's talking about throw away the damn pH pen. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I would absolutely love to get it because that takes up so much of my time, just mixing and measuring.
So would those autoflowers do good outdoors as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think what I've seen people do, or I've heard people do, like on seen them do on Instagram, I guess is an easier way to put that, is you can pull off a couple harvests in a season, put something out there, and obviously depending on your weather, but put something out there in April or something, and then put something out there again in July or whatever. And so that's pretty rad. That sounds attractive.
Oh yeah, 10 weeks seed to harvest, man, that's a beautiful thing. 11, 12 weeks.
You could even go really crazy and do some and say like April, June, July, August, and just keep them staggered and have a harvest every month for a while too. Like that's what I'm looking to see. Everybody around here knows my philosophy, or my beliefs on autoflowers, and I think that if you find the right patches of land in certain climates, they'll sit there and regenerate indefinitely and just keep doing their cycles. So it's I think that in my area, I think oftentimes you would probably get 2 cycles in a year for a lot of these plants. You'd get early in a fall.
That would be titties.
You should Johnny Appleseed the autos.
If I had some, I absolutely would, man. The closest thing to that I have is I crossed an Exodus cheese auto with, I don't even remember what the male was, trying to get some seeds. And then after talking to a few people, like I said, like, yeah, you'll get a few that will auto, but mostly it'll be like fast flowering femmes or whatever that you'll get out of them, which would still be really cool. But once I
Yeah, I
figure
was wondering
out,
how that works.
yeah, so I need to get in touch with someone that has like some regular autos so I can start playing around and making those seeds. And then yeah, Johnny Apple's fuel effect, because I just
Yeah, I would think he would have, if anybody, man, he's like the auto king.
yeah. Yeah, I'll have a conversation with him at some point in time here,
Sure, yeah.
because that would just be cool.
He's a good dude, man. Good dude.
I think it'd be cool if you had the space to grow. I've heard I've heard people talk about it on podcasts, talking about growing autoflowers in between their photo period plants outside. That sounds really cool too.
Cool. Kind of stagger them through the garden between your
Yeah.
photos.
Or even just like in the space between. Obviously, it would depend on, I guess, how big your plants get and all this kind of stuff, because there would need to be enough light.
Right.
But yeah,
I got
I thought about doing it in between grows too, but I failed miserably. So, ended that real quick. But that was the goal, man. Like, I was like, word, like, kill that in 60 days, I'm down, but did not work out the way it was planned.
Another one that I'm really interested in for stealth grows is that freak show that I've got going on.
oh yeah,
Like, man, you throw that out there, like in between pretty much any plants, and in veg stage, nobody will have any clue whatsoever what you got there.
did you get that from seed or clone, or how'd you pick that up, man?
That's so the wife of she got him for me for a Christmas present. There was
That's
I think a breeder on Facebook, and she got me those freak shows, and another one he called Grimace that I think was Granddaddy Purple with crossed with Black Mexican or something like that. So
Nice.
another interesting cross. But yeah, these freak shows, as soon as I saw those, I was like, wow, like that's cool. And then you start putting pictures up on Cannabis and everybody's like, I want some of those. So I've got 7 of them sitting in a 20-gallon pot. Just wait until they're big enough so we can flip them and turn that into seed production. So we're going to hand those out to a lot of people that are surrounding the show here, because like I said, you can throw that in your garden next to anything. And then if it's I haven't done the research into them to find out what you're looking at for a flower time, to be honest, because I just got.
You can find the.
But you think so? You got 3 to 4 weeks before you're really starting to smell, and then probably another 4 to maybe 6 weeks before you're likely to harvest. Like, yeah, you could probably pull that off without alerting too many people. Like, and just have it out in your front yard potentially. Like, who knows?
My business partner, I showed him those and he didn't know what the fuck they were. He's like, what the fuck is that? I'm like, yeah, that's what I was talking about, bro. Them are the freak shows, man.
Well, I got that reaction from a few people, because I'd show them to my buddies at work, even be like, hey, look at what I got for Christmas. And same kind of, well, I wouldn't fucking smoke that. I'm like, fine, I will.
Right. Yeah.
I like the name, actually.
I'm
interested.
The original breeder, or at least like one of the big, where the strain came from was Humboldt Seed Company. They were the distributor, so they have some information on their website about it. So they it says 65 days is the flowering time, and I can't remember what I've heard. I think it's supposed to taste like not too bad, right? Like the flower.
Yep.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool. Maybe we can work that into an auto flowering line at some point in time. That would be kind of for just to add.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, it's awesome to see those are out, because those are Humboldt Seed Company sells the packs of seeds, and they're not cheap. So that's why probably it's harder to come by and stuff like that. But it sounds like people are already getting it out there, which is cool.
Cost of shipping. That's pretty much it, guys. It's I get that it's like breeders wanting to breed and get paid for their product. I absolutely understand that, but I just have such a hard time putting any monetary value on a plant that it's just like,
I get it if they've spent like 10, 15 years making it a pure inbred wine and they've done their work and like all that shit. Like I can kind of get it at that point. You know what I mean? But if you're just kind of a pollen chucker going $150 for 10 beans, like I got two balls you can suck. You know?
Yeah. Shit. Well, like hypothetical, man. You know, he's trying to do it for like fucking what, 50 cents a dollar a bean. You know?
No, yeah, he said like $5 a bean. That's awesome. They're autos, or you know what I mean. He has some really cool fucking crosses, and like you know what I mean. Once I get a little bit more money together, I'm definitely gonna get some, because once I get some room in that veg tent, I'm always gonna have. I want a CBD auto, you know, cross in there pretty much at all times, you know, so I can always be pulling one down every couple months, you know, because I'm really interested in that CBD stuff. So I'm
gonna pop another CBD Kush, man. You know, and I wish there was a way I could clone those, man. You know what I mean? I just didn't. I don't know enough about it. I mean, I was thinking about trying it, you know, and just see what the hell happens. But because I got like a really nice cloner and shit now too, so you know, I can.
It just go right to flower. I don't think you even. I don't know enough about it.
I never heard of them being actually clonable, but you know, I've been out of the auto game for a while, but. You know, you guys got me curious about the CBDs. So if I'm going to try to grow one, I'm going to do an auto.
My buddy had a good 1-to-1. It was like a 12-to-12. And like just the terps alone on it were so unique, because those CBD terps are a lot different.
Oh my God. This one I got, it's like straight gas. I mean, but like weird, crazy fucking, I mean, it's insane. My business partner, he smoked a bowl of it, and he's like, dude, he had to go lay back down, he said, because he fucking, it knocked him right back out, he said. So
the plants are beautiful, that hypothetical gut. So, you know, you look at them and you're like, you have to get high off of it. Like there's no way. Like they look just like every other bud, you know?
Yeah, I want to see one.
My first thing was a Mephisto Sour Stomper. Shout out to Ascot, hooked me up with that bean, and like great gas. Like for an auto, I was just like so surprised. Everybody knows that sound. Everybody gets excited.
I know he's giving us a tour of his tent.
Put your pants back on, man.
Hypothetical is D's Nuts Sour Crinkle.
Oh, those are beautiful too, man.
Yeah, man. She's pretty, dude. And she's so fucking thick down below, man.
Oh, yeah. Hips.
Her sister, I broke her, though. See that? Sorry, man. Trying to.
You taped that up?
This one, yeah, I did. I actually, you can see where I zip tied it, man. And then it, like, in 2 days, it fucking threw a zip tie.
Oh, yeah.
Zip tie out of it. So I just said, fuck it. But it's actually, it's catching up. And this one's taller. It's like a different phenol, but it's the same thing.
It doesn't look like it suffered at all.
No, it really didn't, man. It's excelling. Really. But these are hypothetical stuff right here, man. These not sour crinkle. You harvesting them here probably, I don't know, maybe a month.
How many days is that?
Let's see, 12/29. 12/29 is when I put it in that pot. So he said they'll go about 12 weeks.
12 weeks? All right, yeah, from start to finish.
Yep.
That's a long run for an auto.
Right. That's what he said. He said these do go a little longer. He said, but push them. So that's what I think maybe he was talking about the fucking the 1-to-1s. I got some 1-to-1s, man. I just harvested, and it was like straight purple.
Yeah, he mentioned on the show before that his run a little longer, but they definitely pay off from what it looks like.
Yeah, it definitely does, man. This one's so much fatter than the last one. My last one just didn't turn out right. Plus, it was my first auto, so I didn't really know how to plant them, and I transplanted it and shit. And I guess found out that They should have just put it right in its forever pot right away. And it's better to have like a deeper pot for them. You know, didn't know this shit either. You know, 7-gallon pot would kill it in an auto. I didn't know that. I got this Mephisto I got from Frosty 78 Canada. Shout out to him, man. Fuck is that? Oh, Ewok OG. It's Mephisto. I got a couple of those beans that I traded to him for some Cherry Garcia. So I'm fucking really excited because they're supposed to be like really big. That's why I was asking you, Q, all the questions on the light and the shit and the, you know, how big it got, because I got the damn near same, you know, genetics. And it's Ewok.
Nice.
It's supposed to get really big too. So
Yeah, it filled up the tent. That was for sure. Like, it wasn't, because I had grown a couple autos previous to that, and they had stayed like kind of small, you know. So that was cool to see, like, you know, one auto, you know, take up its space and really kind of seemed like it took advantage of the pot that it had or whatever.
That's awesome. That's what I want to do too. I definitely want to do that. I was looking at them closet cases too. That's so funny you were talking about that, because I'm like really all about them Spectrum Kings, bro. If I could afford them, I'd be getting them. But them closet cases, them were the other thing I was looking at, other than like Keith's fucking lights you were talking about. A black sail, man. But them are beast lights too, for being what they are, you know.
They're badass, man. Especially for a 3x3, like it's like perfect fit, man. You know, like I could fill it out quarter to quarter if I planned it out right, you know, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the best things about Spectrum King is like they're waterproof. So, you know, you can spray around it, like, you know, when I had the one outside or even the one in the tent, if I was like spraying around it or whatever, I don't have to worry about it. Where, you know, obviously with these other lights with wires exposed and all kinds of stuff, you know, more DIY vibe. You know, it's a different situation, but it's all good.
Yeah, you get what you pay for though, man. It's a great product. From every fucking review that I've read on them, man, it's totally worth every penny on the Spectrum. So.
Yeah. I like them, and I know you know, a lot of people really like HLG with their lights, and I think it's just been cool to see that there's more light companies out, and that people like Keith can create something that's like competitive with these other big companies. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's really awesome that he's able to create something. Like, it's funny when you watch him on live streams, because he takes part in, you know, various YouTube shows. He's like building the lights while he's on the stream, so you can it's like, you know, it's him putting those lights together by hand. So that's really cool.
Yeah, didn't he work for Rapid or something prior to that, or help them like, you know, design their stuff?
His story? I don't know his whole backstory. I don't know.
I thought that's something I read or heard about him, but yeah, he helped with their designing all their stuff, their pucks that they have. So, and I know that the Rapid, they got some killer shit too, man. You know, really cool pucks and different DIY setups and shit.
Yeah, I really like them.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, I've got I have the Spectrum King that you talk about. I also have the HLG 650R, and what I found, or what I've been hearing, is I'm also blessed with a 12-foot ceiling, so I can give a good space between the lights and the canopy. But I've heard a lot of the new types of LED fixtures that take the lights and spread them over a wider area, which allows you to bring your light closer to the canopy. And I find that with both the Spectrum King and the HLG, that the lights are all really compact in maybe a 9-inch area or something like that. Anyway,
but you're saying the light spread isn't as much, you think, because of that? Is that what you're saying?
The space, it still covers the same canopy.
Yeah.
The same 5-foot canopy, 5-foot square canopy, but or 25, 5x5. But you can allow the lights to be closer to the canopy, because the lights are spread out over a wider area as
Right.
opposed to just a 9-inch square.
Right. Just like that one bright light.
Well, that's the thing about that one light, though. That one light, it covers like a 6x6 from what I've read on the bigger Spectrum Kings. You know, they'll cover a 6x6, but you don't have to be as close with them. That's the beauty of it, you know,
Yeah.
as you would with the HLG 650R or whatever, you know, you would have to be a little closer. As to with the Spectrum King, you can keep it like a foot, 2 feet away from it, and that gets you your awesome spread plus the PPFD or whatever that you're looking for, you know, all the way around in that, you know, 6x6 square.
I understood that I had to be at least 40 to 48 inches away.
Well, yeah, I'm not totally sure. I'm just, you know, guessing. But yeah, I imagine with the light that strong. Yeah.
And
yeah.
it's pretty hard to do that with an 8-foot ceiling.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. I thought you said you had 12 foot. I'm sorry, Rick.
I do. So I can get away with it.
Okay.
But with an 8-foot
Yeah, like
ceiling.
me, in my tent, there's no way in hell I would ever be able to get away with it unless I had 6-inch plants.
Yeah, that's kind of my issue. I can't use the Spectrum King inside my house because where I have the 602, I mean, because where I have a space to grow, the ceilings aren't that tall, basically, so I can't flower with it indoors. But I did use it outdoors in the spring as like supplemental lighting, stuff like that, which was really nice.
Yeah. That's too bad though, you know, but yeah, like Rick said, I could probably get away with it at my outside grow, you know, there, because I could put them on the ceiling and just fucking leave them there. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Never move. But yeah, it would never work here, unfortunately.
See, I got one of those weird tents, a 2x4x5. So it's like, it's not tall enough for a really powerful something in there, you know what I mean? But like, I have 2 little cheap quantum boards in there, 2 Maxi Sun PB1000s in that tent. And I mean, it's enough light. You just don't get really good penetration and stuff, you know? So I'm trying to find supplemental lighting for that one. Fluffkins was talking about like a little puck you can get that are really good. I think it's like 80 watts or something like that for supplemental lighting.
You're doing pretty good in that 2x4x5 though with them 2, what are the PB1000s or whatever.
Oh yeah, that one.
Beautiful.
The 3x3 with the Canon, that's what's in flower right now. That thing's really doing pretty well.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how that does, bro.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. It's pumping out some nice frosty stack. They're starting to stack up now, beef up. So I'm excited to see what happens.
We got to talk about partnering to getting some of them, man. We just need a little more of them, but that'd be all right. Shit, man, honestly.
I'm just upset I got a 3x3. I should have just gotten something bigger. But live and learn.
Yeah,
I'm jealous of people that have like 4x4s and stuff. I want, or those like 5x5s and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I wish I could have.
I like those big ass ones that are like divided down the middle. You know what I mean? Or that, what is it? That 10x10 Build a Soil's doing?
That's literally what I was just gonna say. The build a soil is like fucking building out in a warehouse or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just awesome. These videos that they're posting on Instagram where they just have this 10x10 or whatever it is, this giant gorilla tent, and they're just like cordoning it off in different sections and stuff.
They have like actual vegetables growing in it, and like, you know, like,
yeah,
it's a big variation of just plants. It's really cool. And they showed it from like the actual building of the tents, you know, like picking out what soil they wanted to use, what mix, and the difference between the mixes and all that. It was really cool because it's really educational too, especially for somebody like me just getting into the living soil and organics. And
yeah.
like
Build the soil.
Yeah, on their Instagram, on Build a Soil's Instagram, they've been posting videos. I know.
They got YouTube though.
I hate it, but like Instagram, I hate it because they're just you know.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
It's a necessary evil right now because it helps spread, you know, good vibes and positivity to a lot of people. So If you use it for the right reasons, right
Right.
on. But
I never-
Instagram, stop banning people and shit. Ooh.
Yeah, it's a pain in the pain in the ass. But yeah, it's been really cool to see Build a Soil like grow their business as well, and they just, I don't know, I've always gotten quality stuff from them for sure. So I like them a lot.
Well, I understand you get way better quality cannabis from organics anyway, man. From what I understand and what I've seen and tasted myself, I mean, it just seems, I don't know, I feel like it tastes better and it looks better and just,
I think
I don't-
I don't know. I think it's like I feel that way a lot of times, but I've also been humbled by like going to competitions and seeing people that grew with synthetic nutrients and they're the ones that won, you know?
right. Yeah,
So-
yeah, I know.
yeah.
You're totally right.
Because I went to the QGrows Cup, like I said, a couple of years ago or whatever that was. And the person won, and that was what was really funny too, is not only were they growing with synthetic nutrients, but they were growing with, I think it was advanced nutrients. So it's funny, like, you know, especially with QGrows, they've got the New Millennium, which is great, by the way. I've had great results with them, and Jaron over there, New Millennium is great.
The
You
one
know,
I
but-
just no.
yeah, but New Millennium, you know, they're their own kind of souped up nutrients, and then there's advanced nutrients, which, like, you know, my problem with advanced nutrients as a grower, at least, is just like when I go to the grocery store, it's like they have to fill up like a freaking, seems like a quarter of the store just with
Yeah.
so many different bottles, and that's what really psyched me out of growing it when I started growing with it, because the only reason why I grew them is because like that's what came up on Amazon when you searched nutrient lines or whatever. It's just like, because they've been around forever, that's what's the top of Google and Amazon and whatever.
Right.
And so
But, it
but then when you
can see all them bottles like that.
that's
When
the
you
thing is, like, once you get into it and you're like, oh, I could get the green dinosaur to use at this time, and then I can get the and then I can get the bulldog to use at this time, and it's like, what the fuck? I'm like
Right.
buying stickers and like, yeah, what the hell?
Yeah. Totally right though, man. I just got some mills like from my grow store that he always hooks me up with, like fucking, you know, promotional shit all the time. And he hooked me up with like a mills pack, and, you know, and it's supposed to be pretty good shit. So I'm gonna
Yeah, it
try.
seems like people dig them.
I use Mills.
Do you?
Yeah, people say
I did it
Mills pays
before.
the
I did it
bills.
for a round.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Mills
always-
pays the bills.
Yeah, y'all want to see some crazy flowers with some organics and living soil? Check out Fluffikin's page, man. That guy's nailing it right now. Some of those shots are just fucking phenomenal.
He is
For real.
too.
He's really dialed his system down pretty well, you know. And you know, shout out to him. He's killing it.
You know, I just seen this guy that he has an organic grow too, but he has this amazing like little tablet microscope setup. It's like a tablet sitting up, and then you know, I mean, it has the whole setup, and you just put your piece of bud up underneath there. And he said it was like $90 on fucking Amazon for the whole setup. But it was like taking shots and stuff, beautiful, amazing fucking trike shots and stuff, dude. It was just mind blowing. But for $90, I need to get me that one of them little hookups. I got one of my eye loops right now that works great, you know, but I can't take any pictures with that. So
I gotta get one soon. Like soon. Good thing I got a job.
Yeah.
Hell
Buddy.
Yeah, congrats.
About to upgrade everything. I think I already spent like my first 4 months of money from.
Nice.
I better be on my best behavior over there.
get ready. You're after your probationary period, and you're on month 3, so great.
What up?
Yeah, that's cool, bro. That's awesome.
Well, guys, I should probably get off soon because my wife got home and the dogs are literally trying to beat down my door right now. I really appreciate the opportunity to hang out with you guys today and for the invite, and for people that tuned in for their questions. And yeah, really appreciate everyone just sharing your stories earlier, just hearing like the impact of what Cannabis has had on you all. It's really awesome to hear that. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. We appreciate you, bro.
Sure, man. Thanks
Yeah,
for-
man, it's been a big
Out, bro,
positive.
Thanks for the platform you helped create, man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So,
Thank you,
give
brother.
JR blessings.
Thanks, man. Yeah, you guys too. Definitely comment on his stuff. He's always growing great flower. You can always count on JR for some fun videos of his grows, and he's always growing great flower. And he, when you do meet him, he usually has some on him, and so you get to smoke some, and it's good stuff. So, or he'll have like a cookie or whatever. You'll probably get high if you run into JR Token. So that's cool, man. I like that.
I met him on the Grow Weed Easy platform way like a while back.
That's awesome. Yeah, he's great. He's
Just your guys' stickers and magnets and stuff. And I'm like, hey man, autograph a couple of them things for me. So I put them up at our grow stores, our local grow stores and shit too. So I thought it was pretty cool, man.
Yeah, that's one thing I need to figure out is like how I want to have like a street team or something like that, or I need to figure out how to do that without, I don't know. But that's where eventually when we launch a membership system or whatever, we can use some money to like buy some stickers and all this kind of stuff so that we can get them out there, get them out in grow stores and whatever it is, dispensaries,
For sure.
But Caribou, I was just saying, man, I need to head out. It's dinner time, and I really appreciate you inviting me on, man.
Thanks for coming, man. I just ran like hell from 3 stories down to get up here when I heard you talking. It was like, shit, he's going.
That's hilarious.
Run, Q, it was great to have you on, man. This is when I first did my first Cannabis live with you guys, I was already doing this show by myself. And after that first Cannabis live, I had made a decision. I wanted to have you and JR on this show at some point in time. I've gotten half that goal. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Hopefully we'll have JR on before too long, because I think
reach out to him, send him a DM. I'm sure he'll jump on for sure.
Okay, well, that sounds great.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that, man. And I like, that's what, Cannabis changes over time, and, it's going to continue to change in terms of what it is and what it is for people. And I think for me, as I'm trying to kind of figure that out, for me, a big part of it, what I think we can always be for people is a place for people to learn and share what they're doing and like try to become better at whatever that is. So if that means growing, or if that means content creation, like that's what I've been excited to see, that kind of community forming. And I want to see people like helping each other in that way. Like I recently did the podcast that I released earlier this week with Wow Ash Wow. I wanted to connect with her because she has a huge following, and I wanted to learn from her what is that like, and I wanted to share her story. And with the Bloom Booster podcast and these other things, I'm trying to kind of figure out ways that we can like try to all help each other out. And I want to try to share people's stories about building a business. We've just we've won our trademark for Cannabis, and so I've talked about bringing the trademark lawyer on to do like a show about trademarks with respect to cannabis, and maybe some other stuff too. I have to talk to him about like his areas of lawyer domain expertise or whatever. But like I feel like there's so many, because cannabis grew so much, it opens up the possibilities for us to try to like tap into these different communities. And I want to bring and share that expertise with the cannabis community so that we can like become better entrepreneurs or better growers or content creators or whatever it is, or glass collectors. Like we really, one of the cool things for me is watching, I know this is like an epic ramble, but anyways, there's a glass blowing show on Netflix. And that's what is it called? It's like called like so Netflix Blown Away. That's what it's called. anyways, season 2 came out like right around the first of the year, and there's a guy on it that clearly makes like bongs for a living, but they don't want to have that on the Netflix show. And and which is kind of funny because they're like he makes glass in this way, but they never say like, because they're used to people making glass that like is in museums and shit, and he's like making like one of them is like this piece where this dude's like standing on a leaf, a cannabis leaf, and on the show they called it the flower of power is what they had to call it because they didn't want to say it was like a cannabis leaf or whatever.
I love it.
So anyways, where I was going with that is like I want to see a glass blowing like community and like glass creator. Like you look at what people are doing like with Pedro, and like Pedro
Oh yeah.
he's been like selling glass. I don't know how it works, but anyways, he's been selling glass sort of like $3,000 pieces and stuff. It's like there's a whole community there that I want to explore as well through cannabis, and it's just there's so many different craftsmen, you know, like when you grow great cannabis, you get to understand what it takes to pull that off, and then like Cariboo was saying earlier, like so many people are just shit, they're not great at growing weed, and that's what a lot of people there's a ton of money sloshing around in the cannabis industry right now, to a certain extent, because like there's people are excited about cannabis going legal, and so there's money kind of floating around, and all of a sudden I've seen like random cousins of mine talking about buying like Tilray stock or whatever bullshit. Like it's just like weird times right now. But at the same time, a lot of these people aren't growing great weed, and the great weed is being grown in people's tents in their houses or their garages or whatever. That's where a lot of the great weed's being grown right now, which is
Cannabis
really cool.
has always been an underground culture, and the best of it always will be underground. It's just, and because the government forces a lot of these people underground, right? First of all, it was illegal for how long? Then you had gray area dispensaries up here, and I believe also down south of the border as well, where someone like me, if I grew a good enough product, I could go sell that at a dispensary potentially, right? But no, not anymore, because I don't have millions of dollars to invest into a setup. So it's once again, the good growers go underground and they still profit and make a lot of money, but the government ain't getting any of it because they fuck around and play stupid games.
Well, and I'm excited now with at least, you know, with legalization, one of the things that will happen is at least people can get real ass bank accounts and, you know, probably be able to advertise and do stuff like that. So at least we can like build cannabis businesses in a little bit more of an equal playing field or whatever. But back to what 710 was saying at the beginning, I totally agree. Like we gotta keep fighting for making sure that our legislators know our stories, that we reach out to the people that will be receptive. You know, if you live in a state where someone that represents you might not give a fuck about the cannabis industry or whatever, maybe you could find someone else in Congress or whatever that will hear your stories. Because I feel like once these people hear these stories, we can get some of these laws changed. We shared a recent podcast recently with Connor Sheffield. He's a teenager who's a NASCAR driver, but he was able to successfully change the laws in his state so that he could access cannabis while he was at school. You know, and a lot of that is just through sharing his stories with these people. And I feel like, you know, one of those things that I think can be really compelling stories to these legislators is the idea of all these little craft cannabis businesses all over the country. You know, right now when you drive across the United States in the last 10 years or whatever, it seems like so many towns in so many states have little craft brewery scenes, you know, and there's little places that are brewing, and I think that should be the cannabis industry. And I think, and that'd be really exciting times if we could have that. And I think once we have that conversation with legislators, I think they would get that, because I don't think they, for the most part, in their mind, they don't want like one dominant player or whatever too, because if you can talk to them, and even just from a jobs point of view, you know what I mean? In like entrepreneurship, which is what gets a lot of these people excited. They will get excited about the idea of creating all these businesses. So I'll get off my soapbox, but that's one of the things that I feel like we got to just continue to work at, because I'm really excited about that idea where people like Indica B and others can like create their own businesses and have thriving craft businesses that grow really great cannabis on the market, the rec market. It's not just some bullshit, that people can, because like the reason why people can just charge whatever they charge right now because demand is crazy high, like, and it's sad what you'll get. I still have this shitty ass bag of Smokeland weed that is all brown and garbage, Chernobyl, that cost me like, I don't know, $90, and I just kept it around because I was so like pissed off that I paid this much money for this on the rec market. There's no reason why people should be selling this garbage.
No, you're absolutely right. And you should not be selling that at all. And let alone at those prices. Like,
Yeah.
It's kind of, if you want to throw that in the bargain bin and somebody wants to pick through there and pull it out, then maybe, but like, no, not at those prices.
Well, and what the thing is, and I know I said I was going to go, but this is my rant about this, is like, I got fucked over because I was like, I was trying to buy like bulk for cheap, basically. And so it seems like people are using that as a way to just get rid of like the shittiest weed that you can possibly have. And they'll either sell that as like a 20-something eighth or a $100-ish ounce. And it's just like, it feels so shitty because like, I don't know what there's no returns or anything like that at most places or whatever. And so you just walked, I just had this delivered to my house, and then I'm just going to sit here with this brown garbage.
Yeah.
But anyways, I really appreciate the time, guys. And I really appreciate your stories, and I would love to come on again, and also just keep in touch with me as the community. Cause like I'm trying to do the best I can for the community, and I want to know like how people are doing. And I'm also want to try to learn, cause for me, I'm going to be trying to grow cannabis and make it a thriving like business as well soon. So, and that's really exciting for me, cause I want to continue to try to like invest in cannabis and come up with more ways for people to hang out and meet with each other, or maybe even if it's just like giveaways and stuff or something, like just come up with more ways to bring people together and have fun. So anyways, I appreciate everyone coming along for the journey.
Well, anytime you want to come on the show, you just say the word, brother. You're welcome anytime. Absolutely.
Thanks, man.
As I've said, all of this right here is because of you and JR. So it's, man, anytime you got something to say, you come on and say it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
All right.
Well, thanks, guys.
Oh yeah,
Thanks for
man.
coming,
Have a good
man.
night, brother.
Yeah, thanks,
Have a
man.
good
I
one,
appreciate you all.
Good meeting you, bud.
Oh,
All right.
family.
Later.
See you guys.
How fucking cool was that?
That was awesome.
That was awesome, man. Hell yeah.
It's like giving a personality to the actual app, like
Yeah.
Hey man, I'm gonna jam, guys. Though my wife's got dinner ready, so I'm fucking starving, man. I'm jammed myself, dude, off the CBD and Alien Rift crumble. So fucking starving, man. Yeah, man. I just want to say thank you to everybody in chat tonight, man. And yeah, I had a fucking awesome time, dude. Just sitting back and listening, man. That was fucking awesome. You guys have a great night, and I'll talk to you guys in the morning, man. And
Hi, bro.
much love, man. Yeah.
later, brother.
Brother, have a good night.
Good night.
Take care, brother.
Love you, man.
Love you too, brother.
Oh yeah, hit like and subscribe. I got to do that for him as he's jumping off. That's usually his bit to do that. Hit like and subscribe. Like what's going on here. So I don't think we got to do that part. We just got right into the goodies. So like that was wow, that was really, really cool.
My eyes are so heavy. I'm almost hallucinating because of all the damn edibles I've eaten to try to make my back numb. But I love you guys, man. I'm going to take off too tonight, and I will talk to y'all in the morning, man.
All right.
Thanks everybody in the chat.
Hey, Squishy.
All right,
Later.
brother.
All right,
Take
bye.
care of yourself,
Rest
man.
up, man.
Later on, guys.
No, I got baked,
Cool.
and this apple is so fucking good right now. I'm not even lying. Like, it's so juicy and just. It's good apple.
Oh man,
It's good
you
apple.
know apples here.
You don't have apple? Come on down, Rick. I got you, Uncle Rick.
I'm only 4.5 hours away from you. I got a bag of them sitting on the counter right there, buddy. You can have half.
They better be the best apples ever for 4.5 hour drive.
No, they're not though. That's the thing. Like if you 5 minutes to the grocery store, yeah, they're damn good. But for 4.5 hours, no.
No.
Not worth it. But you get some good company to hang out with when you're here.
Oh yeah.
There's a plus.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think they'd let me cross the border anyway.
That seems to be the case around here. It seems like none of my friends are allowed to come see me. So, but luckily I've never made it past the drunk tank, so I'm more than welcome down there as far as I know. I just got to get off.
Hey, come on down, man.
Get
some
myself
barbecues this summer.
Yeah. Well, next year I'm hoping I'll be able to make it down there because I've been saying that for a couple months now, just because I knew this year it won't happen just because, well, with the way lockdowns and shit like that, there's no point in even really thinking about it.
Yeah.
We need Chick-fil-A under a bus stop. What are you talking about?
Sure.
No, I'm just kidding. My
Which
dad came
town?
all the way from Alabama to visit, and like everything was shut down. And we ended up getting like a chicken sandwich and having to eat it up underneath the bus stop because it was raining. There was no dine in. You can't sit down and dine in and everything. My dad's just like, what the hell is going on? Because he's from like a smaller city, you know, Alabama, and Chicago was just shut the fuck down at the time. So.
Yeah, we're pretty small town here where I'm at too. Where I'm at now is a fairly fair-sized city compared to what I'm used to. So it's like driving into traffic and shit like that. It's like, it's just, then you're not used to the roads as it is. Yeah, it's it's pretty funny to watch, I'm sure, if you're the guy in the passenger seat. So what's everybody got going on in the garden? Anything special?
Transplanted. Getting ready for the next round. That's about it.
Yeah, I just transplanted all yours, 20 of them. Or I guess 18. 2 of them are still in solo cups. I got to go get some more dirt from Blazing Nation. But I think only one more of those gallon buckets is going to fit in there. So one's going to probably stay. If I could find, I got to find something bigger than the cup. But who knows? Maybe it'll just be a solo cup challenge by myself.
See what you can do. Just see if you could hit up like hypothetical for some tricks, even though it's a photo, right?
Yeah,
a lot of his
try
stuff.
to train it and trim the roots. And I don't know. Yeah, just play with it.
You'd have to bottom feed it probably. Be able to keep it fed without having to hit it up every 20 minutes when it's in flower.
They're already bound pretty good.
Yeah.
With that transplant. They're in those cups, I think. I gotta find out exactly what day from them. Trying to get them all situated out right now, which ones are which, and yeah, fun stuff. But we got it all set up, and now got the fan set up and everything. I got to get another inline for the tent because I transferred my AC Infinity from the 2x4 to my 3x3. So I got a big old box fan that blows in my 3x3 right now with my AC Infinity in there. And then I got 2 smaller fans in the 2x4 because those quantum boards put off pretty good amount of heat, which is fine for veg and stuff like that. But if I wanted to put like an auto in there, I wouldn't want to get it too hot in there during flower and stuff. So just tuning it up, getting it right.
Can you forgive me, but the AC Infinity, can you explain? I've heard of it before. Don't understand what it is. What is it?
Oh, it's just an inline fan. You can attach a carbon filter to it. So it's just exhausting or sucking in your air and exhausting it out, or vice versa, however you want to set it up. And you can get one that has a little digital readout. So it has a little probe that hangs down, and it'll give you your humidity and your temperature and stuff like that. You can set alarms on it, which is a godsend for a stoner like me because my humidity alarm's gone off twice, just from me getting too baked and forgetting about, my humidity, my humidifier wasn't set up to my timer. So when the light's not on, it just builds up so quick, nothing's burning it off and stuff. So thank God for that alarm.
What's one of them run?
I think mine, I got it off Amazon for like $110 or something like that.
That ain't bad.
It's not bad at all. But I heard the probes do kind of go out. So I do want to kind of look into something that like Indica B was talking about, those you can get like 2 of them. So you can have, there's two triggers on it, so it can trigger a humidifier and a dehumidifier, or vice versa, or a fan or something like that, just for a little extra security, to help kind of dial in that environment. Especially like if you're taking all that time, I want to get a good dry tent going, so I can really dial in a good dry and cure and stuff like that. But I'm finding out how important a good dry is,
Yeah.
And I had to learn that the hard way on somebody else's outdoor this summer. But thanks for him letting me learn. It was great.
You want to take the drying slow, man. You don't want to rush that.
Yeah, and I was so scared of mold. I had this dude in the neighborhood that swore he's been growing since Jesus was walking on water and shit. You know what I mean? But
Way back.
Yeah, I don't know. Somebody doing it that long should nail down a dry pretty well, and he just molded everything all the time. You know what I mean? So he was always in my ear like la 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 la. So when I hung that outdoor, it was dried pretty quick, and learned the hard way on that one. But the last 2 I did were progressively better. So I think I might get some Bovita packs. I don't know. Just depending. I think I might I was kind of against them for a while, but I've seen them used right now. Because before it was just like, the only time I've seen them is like 30 of them in a pound and it's vacuum sealed, and it's just like, you lose a lot of terps doing stupid shit like that. I feel like, you know what I mean? And it gave it a bad name for me, but seeing it used right, it's like, hell yeah.
I'd put a pack in the regular size mason jar, per mason jar. And it worked out pretty well for me, I haven't used them in years, but when I was using them, that's how I used them.
We got a new subscriber in chat right now, Jason Grayson. I just want to give you a shout out. Thanks for this, brother, and welcome to the family.
Hurting Albertan. I got mine right now. Let me see where it's set at. I'm at like 74 degrees, 44% humidity. That's pretty good. I'm gonna get it kind of colder here in the next couple of weeks as I finish up in flower. I just hit week 4, so luckily I'm in Chicago and I'm in the studio, so I can get it kind of cooler if I wanted to. And I'm gonna get it kind of cooler at night. I'll probably move the tent over by the window so I can get a nice airflow from at night, that nice cool air kind of flowing in there. Get a nice fade going.
You gonna try and bring out some of the anthocyanin pigmentation with some like purples and reds or whatever?
Yeah, I just learned a new word, so that's cool. But yeah, absolutely. That's
Are the worms gonna be okay?
The worms, yeah, they're over in the other side.
Yeah, and they'll be fine in the colder weather.
Yeah, well, where they're at, they're fine because it's like I have a closet in the studio. I'm trying to explain it. I'm really like stoned and like looking at it. And I'm just like, what? But
Okay.
Yeah, so that actually that whole back part stays really warm for some reason. It's pretty well insulated for whatever reason because it's just hardwood floors and concrete walls. So
maybe you could take them to bed with you.
No, that is my bed. Man. It's cool though watching that. I just got into that. That's just watching the worms progressively break down the compost, food and stuff like that is really cool. And just knowing I'm going to be able to use it, so I know what's going in there. That's even cooler.
Yeah. That.
All right, guys. Well, I think it might be time to call it. I think
Yep.
it's time for me to cook up some supper and
Good to
get
see
that
you,
done.
Caribou.
I'm gonna finish my apple.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. All
All
right.
right, Uncle Rick, Prophet, Caribou, everybody in chat, appreciate it. Y'all
Yeah.
rock.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
Good to
Everybody
see you, fellas. Prophet.
have a positive and productive evening, and have a positive, productive morning tomorrow.
Betcha.
Word.
All right, everyone. Have a great night, and thanks again to everybody in chat. Got a few new followers in there, it looks like, and hopefully we'll see you everybody a lot in the future. Come check us out Friday night, 6 p.m. for everybody's welcome. If you want to join us on the Zoom, just hang out in the chat. It's up to you, but it's community smoke out. So see you there Friday night, 6 p.m. Pacific. I'll talk to all you guys way sooner than that.